So a very good morning to everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to today's webinar on how to successfully migrate from Magento to Shopware 6. My name is Björn Mess. I'm one of Shopware's events managers, and among other things, I'm responsible for our webinars. With me today, I have Carmen Bremen, co-founder of Mage One, and my own colleague, Holger Thomas Kassner, co-developer at Shopware. Just one last thing before we can start. Should you have any questions during the webinar, please use the Q&A button to submit your question. And in the end, we'll answer as many questions as possible. So that we don't lose track of anything, we will ignore the raise hand feature as well as the chat. And that's all from me for now. So Carmen, take it away.
Okay, good morning. My name is Carmen. Yeah, I'm a Magento developer and I'm on my way to a Shopware developer. I'm working as a freelancer in Germany, in Cologne, and I'm maintaining about 20 shops. Yeah, and they are all looking for a new home now, and it seems that Shopware could be that new home because Magento or Adobe is no longer offering security and compatibility patches for Magento 1 from July this year onwards. Yeah, and for that reason, I've been dealing with the topic migration for quite a while. The second reason why I'm here is I'm part of the team Mage One. Mage One is a company that is founded to offer security and compatibility patches. I really trained that word, security and compatibility patches, for quite a while. So we are offering security and compatibility patches from July 2020 onwards. Yeah, and we have a special offer for everyone who wants to migrate from Magento 1 to Shopware 6. So if you need more time for your relaunch or you haven't started yet, then you can ask me or someone from Shopware about this deal, because Shopware will pay up to 100% of the cost of our servers for a couple of months. So feel free to ask me. My contact data, I guess, will be everywhere around this webinar. And if not, it's quite easy to Google me, Carmen Bremen, in the internet. So I have to start with my wonderful background decoration. They both have virtual backgrounds. I have a real webinar background for this webinar. And everyone who knows me from the Magento world knows that I'm in deep love with that sign here. And I think it has a great symbolic value to put it in the Shopware bag. And for now, Alma will convince Shopware that it's a really, really great idea to produce a sign like that in blue with another logo. My contact data will be everywhere, so you can ship it to me. But now I'll start talking about migration before Holger demonstrates the migration tool. Sorry, the first thing that should calm you down is that Shopware and Magento are both e-commerce systems. And that sounds trivial, but that's really great because both customers have customer groups and taxes and products and payment methods and shipping methods. So you don't have to learn what it is. You only have to learn where it is and how it works on the other platform on Shopware. So when you start planning a relaunch, the first thing you play is keep it or leave it. Or better, if you're moving from one house to another, you have to think about which item is so important that it has to go into the living room or whether it can disappear in the basement for a long time. So you have to create a feature list with all the things you want to migrate at the first time. And then you can start to check if Shopware has this feature on his own. And if not, you take a look at the plugin list of Shopware, if there's a Shopware 6 plugin for this feature. And if not, you can look for a Shopware 5 plugin. And you can ask the vendor if he's planning to migrate this feature to a Shopware 6 plugin. And if not, then you have to ask your agency or your freelancer how much it will cost to develop this individually. And after the answer, you can play keep it or leave it again. And then you have the final feature list for your migration. And before you start with the migration tool, or with the data migration, you have to configure Shopware a little bit, not much. You only have to configure the shipping method, the taxes, and the payment methods. And the reason is quite easy because Shopware don't know what the term is in Magento. For example, in Magento, a tax is called full taxes, and in Shopware, it's called 21%. It's for the Dutch people here. And so you have to make them know each other. So, and what you don't have to configure are customer groups, categories, and attributes. My first mistake, for example, was that I created the sales channel before the migration, but you don't have to do this. The migration tool creates the sales channel for you. Now, I've asked all my customers what is most important for them when they think about migration of their data. And on the second place is there always the passwords. But everyone assumed that it's not possible to take over the passwords. But the good news is it will be migrated. Oh, I think Holger will say a few words about passwords. Yeah, and on the first place with a response rate of 100% was the SEO URLs. It's very important for everyone that the URL structure is identical to that of Magento 1. The good news is it is. So all of the URLs will be migrated to Shopware 6. So my impression of the migration tool is it works. It does what it should. And yeah, I have a little anecdote. The first time I did the migration on my computer here at home, I left the room at my home office home. I left the room, and when I came back, the computer was in sleep mode, and I thought, oh, beep, I have to clean up the database and start all over again. But when I woke up my computer, the migration tool said, sorry, we were interrupted. Should I pick up where I left off? And I really like that. So it's very easy to use the tool because it starts every time again. Yeah, and another story for a Magento developer is that here I worked for quite a while at a shop, at the new Shopware shop, and then a button appears with the word update. And that's really quite new for Shopware, for a Magento developer, because we don't have update buttons in the admin panel. And yeah, so I backed up everything, the database and the new Git branch and whatever, and then I pressed the button, full of excitement, and it happened nothing bad. So everything was fine after a few minutes. The shop was up to date and running. And this sounds quite absurd, but if it stays that way, many agencies or freelancers will be out of work because we earn very much money with updates in Magento. So for everyone who's willing to switch from Magento to Shopware, there are a few new terms which you have to learn. But Shopware will release a kind of vocabulary trainer on their website, so you can look up for all the words you don't find in Shopware. For example, the configurable products are now called variants, and the attributes are now called custom fields, I guess, and the stores and the store views has changed to sales channel. So that's, for example, 3 words that are changing. So, but I was only the opening act here, and now I hand over to Holger, and thank you.
Yeah, and I will want also to say hello to everyone. Good morning from Germany. And yeah, I want to introduce the tool to you. But first, I need to introduce myself. So I'm going to share my screen. My name is Holger Kassner. I'm the product owner of the Shopware services team, which is responsible for the development of the Shopware plugins and the extensions for Shopware 5 and also for Shopware 6. And yeah, we also implemented or built the migration assistant tool and the migration profile for Magento. What can the migration assistant do for you? The migration assistant allows it to migrate from third-party systems to Shopware 6, of course. We come with profiles which are directly on board. Like we, of course, have a Shopware 5 profile, which is for Shopware 5.4, 5.5, and 5.6. And you can migrate to Shopware 6. And we also come with profiles for Magento 1.9 and the whole 2 series, so 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3 for what I know. And we build a tool which is very highly extensible so that you can also extend or change the tool that it fits your individual needs. Talking about profiles, when you will start up installing the assistant, these will be the first 2 screens that you will see when you come to the tool in the administration. And the second screen is that we show the profiles that are on board. I already installed the extra plugin for the Magento profiles, and you will see an install button there. So you can just click the install button and you will download and install the plugin in the background so that you also have the Magento profiles available in the assistant. What can the tool do for you? Of course, the tool makes data migration easily possible. That is our main goal. So we migrate database entries and we also migrate images and media. And for Shopware 5, we also migrate documents, which is not possible for Magento so easy because Magento is generating all the documents like invoices and all that stuff on the fly. So it's not saved physically on the storage, and that is what Shopware does. We always store the invoices and all that physically on the storage. So we cannot migrate these documents from Magento right now. Yeah, and a special thing is that we allow repeated migration, which is very useful when you're in a whole migration process and stepping over from Magento or from another third-party system. This can be very useful because you can continue to use your live environment, your production environment, your current shop, but still start to migrate over your data, and you can maybe run a daily tasks that will get the updates from your source shop, like price changes or stock changes because on sales, and also like new orders and all that stuff. So you can always repeat your migrations. When you come to the administration in Shopware, where can you find the tool? You will see it on the dashboard with a link. So you can open the migration assistant from the dashboard. It will be also be offered as a download in the first one wizard. So it will is really onboarded in Shopware, so you can easily find that tool. And the other way would be like to go to the settings, plugins, and then you will have an extra menu for the migration assistant where you can open this tool. Where can you get the tool? Like I said, it's really like onboarded in Shopware 6, so you can download it via the first run wizard, or you can get it in our Shopware store. You can also get the migration profile there. And you can also, of course, get them via GitHub because they're all open source, so that you can extend and change them as you need it. So let's do a live demonstration. I already made a connection to a Magento 1.9 system here in my environment. So what I want to show you is like what we saw on the screens, that you can open the migration assistant via this menu, or you go to settings, plugins, and you open the migration assistant. You will get into this screen here, which shows you some information about the current connection. In this case, I have a connection to Magento 1.9. I did this via a local gateway right now. So I connected to a local database, which is right now the only way of connecting to Magento, because we're not using the API right now. Then you get some explanations on how the migration works and which steps are to follow and what want to demonstrate it. The first thing I maybe can show is that you can also edit such a connection. It's like you have to fill in your database credentials. You can also give the table prefix of your installation if you use the prefix for the Magento installation. And you can decide if you're on the same server so that you can copy the media from the path where Magento is installed, or you can activate and download via URL. The download would only download images which are public available, like product images and all that stuff, and not content images which are uploaded by the what you see is what you get editor for editing content and all that. So then we can go to the data selection. The data selection offers you information about which data is available for you to migrate. We have the same data available for Magento migration as we have for Shopware. So everything which is useful and you need is available for migration. So we have products, which includes all the product relevant data like images and prices, taxes and all that stuff, and also attributes, of course. And we have customers and orders, which contain all of the relevant data here. You can also migrate all the media a single migration, for example, and of course the URLs, the product reviews, and also the newsletter recipients. So what I want to do is we select all of this data. You can get some information what this contains by hovering over the info button, and then I will start the migration. Oh, my session is run out of time, so I have to log in on the new. Okay, let's start the migration. So the first screen we'll see is the pre-mapping, which offers, like Carmen introduced, a way of connecting the source system with the system with Shopware 6, and we have some different wordings and some different settings here, and we can give a first configuration with this pre-mapping to make it possible for the migration system to know where the source data has to be placed. The first thing would be like payment methods. We have not all payment methods which now come from the system. We do not have all of them available here. So I'm just map it maybe to invoice for demonstration. We have the same for the shipping methods. This would be also a first info for you that maybe something is missing if you're configuring, like you're missing shipping methods, you're missing payment methods in Shopware 6, and this would be a first hint that you need to configure something. Okay, so I just mapped this to the standard default shipping method, just for demonstration purposes. Then we go to the taxes, like Carmen said. In Magento, this is often is more like describing a term which is used for our taxes. And in Shopware, it's often simple, like the percentage itself. We have now here the typical German percentages installed per default, like 7 and 90%. And I'm going to map this all to 90% right now. And then we have the newsletter status. We have some from the Magento system, like subscribe, not active, unsubscribe, and we can map them to the equivalent in Shopware. I'm going to do that to not set, just for demonstration. Yeah, and then we're done. The data check's complete. Everything is mapped, and we could start over our migration. We could also toggle or collapse, toggle this. The rest of the the rest of the pre-mappings, like the salutations, which are automatically mapped by Shopware, because we know that Mr. is a male and Miss is a female and all that stuff. So some of the states are automatically mapped by us, but you can also control them here, of course. And then we start our migration. What we do here now first is we fetch the data from the database. We read all the data which is required for our data sets. and these automatically will be converted to a format that Shopware 6 understands. We will like control the data which comes inside as an array, and we're gonna create a checksum about this data set so that we can recognize if the data from the source changes by the checksum. So then we can see if a data set changed, and we can then only allow like a delta migration when we migrate for a second time. After the reading process, he starts to write the data into the format which Shopware 6 understands. So now we really create Shopware 6 entities from it, which are stored in the database, of course. And we also keep all the mapping information so that we can, again, we can do a repeated migration, and he will be aware of the old identifier and the new, which is written into Shopware 6 database. After that, we will generate the thumbnails for the downloaded media. In this case, I'm on the same server, so he just copies it, which is really fast in my demo data. I maybe have to say that what I took as the demo data was the typical medicine shop, which is used for demo data in Magento, and we used this demo data also for development of the migration profile. I heard this data is not 100% perfect. I heard this by a couple of Magento developers, but it was, for us, it was a good base to start and to develop the tool. So after the migration is finished, we can go back to our overview. As you can see, he's still doing tasks in the background. Like he has to generate thumbnails for the product images, which is he doing in the background. This is done via a message queue, which is processed in the background. And you can go to the overview, and you will see in a history, you can open these histories to get some details, what is migrated, if there were errors and all that stuff. And you get hints about what is maybe missing for you. As you can see, now we have a third sales channel, and this is now the main website. This is a sales channel, the store view we migrated from Magento. And if we open it, we can see all the configurations which are done in Magento. So we migrate also the whole category and shop structure from Magento to Shopware 6. If we go here to catalogs and then the categories, you will see that he migrated the whole medicine shop structure with all the subcategories and all that stuff. So this is also done for you, and they are also connected to the products. Let's see what happens here. So we have the different products with all their images downloaded and migrated here. We have the product reviews with all the votes and all that stuff. We have the properties, which come from the Magento attributes here, and it's all migrated and it's all bound to the products. Of course, we have some manufacturers, but manufacturers are not like in Shopware, where it's often used. I saw that in Magento, it's not a typical field which is filled. I don't know how it is in practice, but in the demonstration data, it was not filled with information. We have the orders migrated with all the status things. We have the customers migrated with, of course, all the passwords are migrated. Carmen said that before. We have migrated an encoder, which allows it for the customer. When the customer is migrated to Shopware 6, and you go live with your Shopware 6 shop, the customer can, of course, log in with this old password, and he will he will not have any trouble with logging in with this old password. We have now finished to migrate like to implement the old or the original Magento password encoding system, which will be, I guess, released on Monday. So it doesn't matter if the encoder in your source system is like MD5 or SHA or bcrypt or whatever. This will work for the migration, so it won't be a problem. Of course, we have all the media converted. These are media which lie in the root of our media folder. These are all the, what you see is what you get media, which are from content in the demonstration shop. And we also have like product media migrated to this folder. You can see that everything is available from the shop. So yeah, that was really, really easy. I can also demonstrate, like when I go back to the migration assistant and I start over again, you will see that he will be really fast the second time, because of course the data is not changed right now. So he is again fetching, but he will recognize really fast that nothing has changed. So he does not need to run through the converter of the data, and he also does not need to write data again. So the second time was really fast. And if you have changes like stock prices and so on, he will recognize it and he will update your data set in Shopware 6. So yeah, that was the migration tool I introduced to you. This is very easy for you. This is very comfortable, and you can extend it to your needs to make your migration from Magento really easy. What is also important when it comes to information about differences, this morning we published a blog article on our homepage, which you can find on the homepage when you go to blog. And it's the first entry which is published this morning, written by our colleague Sander Mangel, who gave some information about Shopware 6 for Magento developers, which can also be interesting for you. Okay, then I stop sharing my screen and we have time for some questions, I guess.
Right, thank you very much, Carmen and Holger. So let's jump to the questions right away. The first question we got was, we have on Magento 1.5 store and 1.7 store. Does that mean those versions won't work with the migration tool? So can you just show the available versions once again, Holger, maybe?
Yeah, the available versions are right now really easy, 1.9 and the whole 2 series. But we saw that, or we recognize that the database changes from Magento 1 to Magento 2 were not that much. So there are really similarities which made it really easy for us to write profiles for the Magento 2 version. And I guess that the older versions of Magento have kind of the same structure like the version 1.9 has. So I guess it won't be a big problem to write a profile for, let's say, 1.5 and change our profiles to your needs, because you can extend our basic profile and change it to your needs. So I guess it won't be a problem. It is not available right now, if this is a question, but it's very easy to do something like that.
Okay, so the next question bases like a bit on that topic as well. Somebody asks, many Magento projects have third-party providers installed, and is it easy to kind of migrate them as well to Shopware?
The only thing that has to be reachable is the database, of course. So if the database is reachable externally, even if it's maybe behind a firewall or something, if the database is reachable, it's very easy to migrate that, yeah.
I have a question.
Yep.
If a third-party module creates, for example, a customer attribute, so not a product attribute, but a customer attribute like website or another information, will this also be migrated?
Yeah, because it's in the same database in Magento, so that won't be a problem. If it's connected to a product and all that stuff, it will of course be migrated. Yes, we create or we take all the attributes as properties in Shopware 6, and some of them are migrated to custom fields, and some of them, when they are used, for example, for the variants, for the configurable products, they are used as properties in Shopware 6. So everything is migrated. It doesn't matter where it comes from.
From the same person, a question, what about custom order attributes?
Custom order attributes. Let me think of it.
Yeah, a typical example is a DHL number or something like that.
I'm not 100% sure right now because we do this for Shopware, of course. I'm not sure how we handle it right now for Magento. I have to check that. But if this is required and we get the information from you, from the community, of course we will offer that for you, because this is our goal to make it as easy as it can be for you to migrate. So if this is missing, we implement it, no problem.
All right. Does the migration tool support importing multi-website and multi-store Magento 1 configurations?
Yes, this is also not a problem. Like I said, we use the demo data, which only has this one sales channel. But in Magento, you have the store views and stores, and we kind of translate that to our kind of configuration. So these multi-store environments will be converted to different sales channels, as we call it in Shopware 6, with the store views, which are often used for translations, which will be the translations of the different sales channels. So yeah, we of course migrate multi-store environments.
All right. Next question. Can this migration tool migrate every e-commerce system?
Yes, if you have a profile for it, it can. We have also tried to do something with WooCommerce, and we haven't finished it yet. Otherwise, we would have published it. But we started to test it, and this is also working. And I know from a partner agency in Ireland, which I'm sometimes connecting with about Magento, and they connected the migration assistant to a PIM system. So you can use this tool for different cases, not even for migrating from third-party shop systems, but also for connecting it to other things. So this is very flexible.
All right. Is it possible to create custom payment methods? And if yes, does one have to create a plugin or a module to communicate with the third-party provider?
Yes, that is not really a question regarding this migration tool, but of course you can create a plugin which offers third-party payment methods. That's what we do with PayPal. That's what we also did for Shopware 5 with different payment providers. So this is no problem, but of course you have to create your own plugin for that and connect it to the provider.
Okay. So one last time the question, I think we answered it already, not quite sure. Can you also migrate plugins extensions? I think there was one question before, right?
The plugin extensions, the data of them, of course, but it's like you maybe need to have an equivalent in Shopware 6 that offers the function to do something with the data. But when it comes to pure data migration, you can extend the Magento profiles to your needs. So if you need some extra fields from the databases, this is no problem, and you can migrate them and store them where you need. So this is really not a problem. It's very easy to do.
Okay, interesting questions coming in right now. What is the maximum database amount that can be migrated? There's like an example with 26K products, 7 million orders, and like hundreds of thousands of customers.
Yeah, this will take some time, of course, because of the amount of data. But yeah, this is work. I mean, I tried some shops with also some millions of products and millions of customers and orders. For what I know, I have tried something with 3 million customers and orders, and it worked fine. Fine in sense of course, there are also corrupt data in the databases. I mean, this was a Shopware 5 shop where I tried that. And this is always that you have corrupt data in your database. But in generally, this absolutely works. And for what I know, it doesn't matter how big the data is. You just have to maybe recognize that we create a mapping from the old data set to the new data set. which means there are entries stored in the database, and this mapping table can of course be very, very large when you have 7 million clients and orders. But if it's just for the migration case and memory does not matter, this will work, I guess. Yeah.
All right. One question coming in. How are attribute sets migrated? The person has tested it before, and all attributes are on the default list, but are not separated like attribute sets in Magento. It would be nice to convert it into tabs.
Yes, we know that, we are aware of that, and we have a concept for that, and we want to realize that, because we also recognize that in Shopware 6 right now, you bound attribute or custom field set to, in general, products. So every product has this attribute set. And if we migrate from Magento, we have like the attributes of screws on the clothing. And this is not what we want. So we need to adjust this a little bit, that you maybe connect the sets, the custom field sets in Shopware to single products, and then this will work for you. And like I said, we have made a concept of it, and we want to realize that you have several options and comparable options like in Magento.
All right, so I'm gonna have a look at the time now. That's actually all the time we have today. Should any questions remain, of course, feel free to send an email to us at Shopware. That will be at international-sales@shopware.com, or to Carmen. Carmen, how can they contact you?
Via email, info@mage-one.com. Yeah, or you can have a look at LinkedIn or Crossing or all the platforms or NeoShops. You'll always find me on the NeoShops.
Perfect. So once again, thank you very much, Carmen and Holger, for your time, and for everybody participating today. Right, have a great day and take care, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.